Hey, this is Andrew Ouimet, broadcasting from StRose Internet Radio at the College of St. Rose, located in Albany. Today, my special guest is Sean Caffrey, who is a local audio producer that has done some work for some artists in the Capital Region. Sean, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Hanging in there.
All right, Sean. Well, I know that you do audio production and you do beats for some local artists, but why don't you tell me, what exactly is it that you do?
Basically, when you hear a pop track or an R&B track, a hip-hop track, it's what's called the beat. It's all the music behind the vocals. So I do all of that, basically. I come up with, like, the backing track to the song.
So basically, if you weren't there, it would just be somebody talking.
Yeah, basically.
All right. And what got you into this field?
Man, I guess it started when I was real little. I used to listen to music, and just in my head, I'd be like, man, if that was me, I would have done this different. I would have, had a different chord progression here, different drums or whatever. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but that's what I was doing when I was little. Then I got older, probably around 2003 or so. I got my own computer, and I got this piece of software that allowed me to edit audio. So I would just take, like, industry beats, like beats that were real popular, played on the radio and stuff, and I would mix them with other acapellas, other popular songs, and just make these little mashups or whatever. And, I played it for my friends and people at school. I would take those beats and chop them up and make them sound different, like a completely different sound. And then from there, I just went on to making my own beats.
So it was pretty much something that you loved to do from day one. You knew.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, have you had any training or schooling for this?
No, not really. I mean, I pretty much taught myself basically everything I know.
Is there any, like, special way that you learned? Did you just basically, you bought the software and then you threw yourself into it?
Yeah. I mean, trial and error, just figuring out what does what, and yeah.
Do you think maybe sometimes that's just the best way to learn things, is actually getting to be hands-on with stuff?
I think so. I mean, I know me personally, I learn the best if I'm just thrown into a situation and I have to, sink or swim, basically.
So, who have you done work for?
Mostly just local people right now. Fitted is a big one. I'm one of his main producers. There's a kid I went to school with. His name's Neek. He's put out, like, probably 8-9 mixtapes.
I think I've actually heard of him.
Yeah, he's pretty big in the area. He lives in Florida right now. Yeah, he goes back and forth. He puts out a lot of music. This other kid, Boy Genius, he's local. He's from Cohoes, I believe. I just linked up with this other kid, Trizzy. He's out in Schenectady, and he's actually going to be on MTV this summer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that'll be pretty cool.
You think that'll get you some good exposure?
I hope so, yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome. Now, where do you draw your inspiration from for your beats?
Man, life, really. I mean, there's no one specific source that I draw from. I'll be driving to work or something, and I'll see something happen, and I'll be like, oh, I kind of want to make a song about that. Or, I'll be in the gym or something, and I'll hear some strange song on the radio that I've never heard before. I'll be like, ooh, I want to sample that and make that into a beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, do you think that maybe from your life experience that you had, that has made your beats maybe as successful as they have? Because you seem pretty successful to me. I mean, if you're doing all that work for local artists and even one of them's going to be on MTV, I mean, you have to be doing something right.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think just the fact that I've been doing it so long, and I've been a fan of music since I can remember, since I was real young. And I know what I want my music to sound like. I'm a huge perfectionist, so if I don't feel that it's absolutely perfect as I can get it, then I'll scrap it. I won't send it to anybody.
Yeah, I'm like that too.
Yeah.
With a bunch of things, if things don't sound right, there's no point in even putting them out if it's not my best work.
Absolutely.
So, do you have any specific people that influenced you to do this?
In the beginning, a huge influence was Kanye West. Probably around 2004 or so, when I really started to get into making beats. He came out with his first solo project. It was The College Dropout.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Just overall, the production side of it is just, he's got so many soulful samples in there, and it was just a completely different sound than what was popular at the time. And when I first started making beats, I just tried to make Kanye beats, basically.
Well, that's good to have something to, like, model yourself after, so you know, wow, this is what I want to do, this is what I want my music to sound like, and this is how I want it to flow.
Definitely.
So, working with all these artists, you ever clash with them? Is it ever hard working with them? Like, do you ever give them a beat and it's not exactly what they're looking for?
Sometimes. I mean, artists have different tastes. Like, sometimes I'll play them a beat that I think is really dope, and I could see them on it, and they're just not feeling it, and they don't want it. But a lot of times I'll make like a skeleton of a beat, which is like a real basic idea of what I want the song to sound like. And I'll bring the artist in and I'll be like, what do you think of this? And then we'll kind of collab on it and be like, well, we could change this or we could change that or make this sound like this. I'll work with the artist to make the best possible product. As far as clashing with artists, I've definitely had a few arguments in the studio.
Yeah.
I think a project should go a certain way. They don't see it that way, but, you're going to come across that.
Yeah,
So
it's just one of the. Yeah, it's obviously just one of those tasks that no matter what, you're always going to clash with somebody. You can't get along with somebody all the time. Now, what has been maybe the worst experience working with them? You ever given them a beat that you worked on for a long time and you're like, wow, this is really good, and you gave it to them and they were like, not exactly what I was looking for?
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot. I try not to take it too personally. I mean, I like the music that I make, but I make all different types of music, so some people aren't going to like everything I make, and that's fine. The worst experience I've had, probably just not being paid when I was told I was going to be paid.
Yeah.
Basically, I sent artists beats and then just never heard back.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't even know if they used the tracks that I sent them. You know what I mean? Unreliable people. In this business, you come across a lot of those. And it's annoying, but, you learn to get past it.
Yeah, I can imagine it'd be frustrating, but to get your beats out there and stuff and finding that one artist that you can link up with, it's probably worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about your artistic process when you go to create a beat.
Basically, I mean, I'll just sit down. I either start with a sample or I'll just start with a blank slate. If I start with a sample, I pretty much have an idea of what the end product is going to be like. So I'll take the sample song, I'll chop it up, take all the pieces out that I want to use, line it all up, and then just go in and be like, all right, I want a snare that sounds like this. So I'll go in, and I have like gigabytes and gigabytes of sound samples and songs to sample from. So finding the right sound is never really a problem for me. So yeah, I'll just go in and find the different drum sounds and sequence it all up, break it out into verses and hooks, and yeah, just kind of tweak everything till it sounds right.
How long does this normally take?
Anywhere from, 15 minutes to, sometimes I'll work days or even weeks on one beat.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. It really depends on the project.
Now, obviously you can't be creative 24/7. I think that's just impossible for anybody to do. I mean, everybody goes through a mental block.
Oh, definitely.
Do you ever find yourself in a mental block and you feel like it's the same one and you use the same exact way to get yourself out of it? Like, what do you do when you're in a mental block?
Well, recently I've discovered something that really helps. When I find myself in a mental block, I just try to kind of pull myself back and not try to force anything. When I go in there and try to force music out, it never sounds good. So I'll try to take a break from making beats for a little while and just try to go, do something else creative. I also write, I edit videos for people. I do a lot of creative things. And I'll go do that and I'll go listen to like a whole bunch of different kinds of music and just kind of, refresh my brain, try to get some more,
kind of suck the world in, get some creativity from that.
Exactly, kind of recharge my batteries.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like everybody needs that at some point.
Definitely.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break now and give the audience a chance to listen to some of your work. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, great.
Okay, we'll be right back.